So we are into episode 3. We've had some great feedback. Thank you, everybody who has either emailed in or followed us on social media and posted messages there. Everybody's been very, very supportive, and it's really fantastic. It's really nice, actually, to feel like people are actually taking the time to listen, and we are very grateful. Some feedback that we've had is that our personalities aren't coming over yet because you don't know us yet. And so you don't know what we're like as people. We agree that we think that episode 2 is maybe a little bit long. I think the content was great. We had great guests. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Michelle. But what we'd like to do today is shoot the breeze. We're just going to chat like we do normally, like every day. And we're going to reminisce. We're going to tell some stories about how things were when we were growing up. But the thing about it is that we're going to be telling these stories through our 50-something lens, because if we talk about what happened in 1984, that's going to be very different to somebody who's 30, or even alive. I don't know. I can't do the maths. Anyway, let's crack on. So, Crouch,
how are you? How was you? What have you been up to?
You kick off. How was your weekend? What did you get up to?
Yeah, it was good. It was good, thank you. I had the house to myself, which because my partner was out, which was when you get that opportunity to do what you like.
It's a mixed blessing.
It is a mixed blessing. Yeah, so you can watch what you like, you can wear what you like, and you can kind of eat what you like.
I'm intrigued by what you would wear. What would you like to wear when your wife's not around? Do you go through a wardrobe? Oh, yes.
Not every weekend.
Oh, goodness me, listeners. I can only...
She checks her drawers when she gets back.
She checks her drawers? It was in case you're wearing them.
Yeah. Thankfully, I'm not her size. It was bonfire night, which... mixed blessings. We've got a couple of cats, so it's not great for pets. So I am conscious that not everybody likes that particular weekend, but fond memories for me growing up. Oh, my dad loved bonfire night, so sparklers, rockets, jacket potatoes in the fire that were 1,000,000 degrees, and you could never eat them, but always burnt. So fond memories from that point of view. Did you? But it was a nice weekend.
Did you have any alarms going off over the weekend?
All the time
because of the fireworks.
Yeah, absolutely.
We had one, and it was not even particularly local. It was definitely a couple of streets away, and it went all night. And it's just rockets going up. But I think whoever it was clearly wasn't in.
Really,
and so it makes you just kind of think, what's the point of having an alarm? Is an alarm only there in case you're in and somebody tries to rob you?
Yeah, true.
Or, I don't know. There was no police. Nothing happened except that a siren literally went from about 9 o'clock at night till 8 o'clock the following morning. So what else do you get up to the weekend?
I actually on Monday I was kindly invited to go by one of my ex-rugby coaches, Craig. Hello, if you're listening.
Hello, Craig.
Who I've known for obviously a long time. He is part of a walking group in Trafford, so South Manchester, and he's one of the lead walkers. And basically, it's a cohort of people from 50s, 60s, 70s, even in your 80s. They go out every Monday, rain or shine. It's a social group. They go for a short, a medium, or a long walk. From 2 miles up to 5 miles in whatever the weather is, and it was such an inspiring group of people to me. It was like being in an episode of Afterlife in terms of the age of the people. Lots of mixtures of stories. So some widows, some people recently retired, some people just coming out of hibernation from COVID and worrying about all the health issues. But generally, all of them have different challenges, as we do in our 50s. They're older, even more pronounced challenges, but they're all committing to going out once a week to be on a walk with people in a social environment, just to talk and have a cup of tea, have a biscuit afterwards, have a piece of toast. And I thought the group were amazing and inspiring. And we've both unfortunately lost our dads. We've got our mums. My mum, I think, does find herself lonely sometimes, and I'm going to try and encourage her to try and join a group like this. It's not really the exercise, it's more, although it is good to be outside, I think it's more the social interaction and being with people who are of similar ages and have different challenges. It was really inspiring. So thanks, Craig, for the invitation. What did you get up to?
So My wife and I have really got into foraging. Okay. Now, I hope this doesn't make us sound really old. She thinks if I mention this, we're going to sound really ancient, but we're not. It's actually really cool. So we've been genning up on different mushrooms, and she's quite the expert.
I think you've done that before.
Well, there's different kind of mushrooms, different time of life. These are, what can we eat? And she's quite paranoid about poisoning us. And so I'm kind of going, oh, look at this. This is a beautiful one. Yeah. And it's like, we've seen some amazing things, amazing mushrooms that are just out there.
So where did you go out? Which part of the country? Where were you?
In Hertfordshire,
okay.
So sort of just north of London, and there's loads and loads of woodland and forest walks and all that sort of stuff. So we go collecting mushrooms. We're out of season now, but we were doing blackberries. We've done rose hips. We've done hawthorn berries, sloes for sloe gin, and I got some acorns the other day. I'm going to start making acorn flour, which is like apparently an ancient flour, one of the most ancient flours you can get. And
what's the inspiration for this new pastime?
I think that I really like the seasons. I love the seasons that you get in the UK, but I get really fed up when it gets dark and wet and dank. My dad always said he suffered from seasonal, was it SAD? And I don't really want to get into that. So it's like, how can we celebrate the seasons going through? So, when it comes to autumn, rather than kind of going, oh, it's getting dark, it's grey and it's wet, we're getting out there and we're going hiking in the countryside. We're gathering stuff off the hedgerows, but then we're coming back and doing something with it. And this is really exciting, I think. So I've got a kitchen that does look like a science project. We've got like loads of jars and demijohns and...
Wow, sounds amazing.
So we've got loads of things that are fermenting. So I've got, different sort of pickly type things going on with chilies and garlic and ginger and tomatoes. But my favourite things have been making like cordials. So getting wild apples and putting them into an airtight jar with honey. And then I also cheated and didn't pick this, obviously, but got a lime and chopped that up and put it inside, and some fresh ginger and put that in, top it up with some water, and you basically leave it for a week. And it comes out, you drain it through a muslin in a sieve, put it into a bottle, and it keeps going for a week as a really delicious drink. And these are fantastic. Really fantastic if you mix it with vodka or gin as well. But
condiments and alcohol, like two of our favourite things.
Exactly. Oh, another thing I was doing was elderberries, making this elderberry syrup, which is fantastic. It goes really well with ice cream as well. Anyway. So that's...
Can you post some of those to our social media sites so people can see what's going on?
I could do that, yeah. In fact, I've got some onion ketchup I'm going to be opening soon, and that is going to be explosive, because that's completely airtight and there's no valve on it. So as soon as you lift the lid, it's just going to go... Which should make for quite entertaining YouTube footage.
Waitrose, we are available.
Yes, we are. Other brands do apply.
Yes.
So that's what I was doing this weekend. I've coming up next week, I've got I've mentioned to you before, I've got an exhibition coming up, which I'm really excited about.
Okay, where's that, and what's the event? What are you showing?
It's at the Mall Galleries. It's at the Mall Galleries in London, on the Mall, sort of between Trafalgar Square and Buckingham Palace. And I've got one piece in there. It's a group show, and it's the show is called Discerning Eye. But part of this, so next Friday, I'm going to be doing a painting demo, which I don't really know what's going to happen. I've been asked if we'll do it, and I said, yeah, because I think when you're in your 50s, you've got to be open to say yes. We want to be proactive. We keep saying this, but in order to do that. You've got to do it. You've got to say, yes, I'm going to do it and commit and try these different things. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm a bit nervous about it, actually, if I'm honest, because you are putting yourself at risk. It's all right putting something in a gallery and then stepping away, and then people can kind of like it or not like it, and you don't really know about it. Well, they might buy it, which is always nice. But to stand there and you're quite exposed. So, I'm quite vulnerable to people heckling, I suppose. But what I think I will do, actually, and I've never tried this before either, is I think I'm going to do an Instagram live. So maybe I'll post it on our Instagram site. And our Instagram.
Yeah, people can prepare a heckle.
You can prepare a heckle, yeah. And that, our Instagram site, listeners, in case you haven't checked us out, is the 50-something podcast. So just go and have a look at that. There's loads of I'd say, sort of backstage footage. So there's kind of photographs of me and him, and a little bit of video from when we did our run the other day. And we will also be posting shortly, because on Sunday, this coming Sunday, we will be doing our challenge that was set by Richard, our Swedish guest last week, which is to go wild swimming in Hampstead Heath, in Hampstead Pond. Now, I was talking to a friend of mine this morning. I actually went for a run this morning and bumped into this friend of mine, David, who is in his 70s, and he swims there every day. And he's actually going to come with us, and he's going to record us doing the plunge. Laughing at us, yes, definitely. But,
well, mainly at me, I think.
Well, no, I don't know, because he actually sent me a message this morning after he's been for a swim saying, actually, I'm quite concerned for you because it's very cold. So we shall see. But I mean, if the water is warmer than the air, and the air this morning was 7 degrees, so if the water's warmer, you get a mist on the water, and swimming through the mist on the water is magical. It's absolutely fantastic.
Sounds wonderful, and hopefully the mist will mean people can't see me, which is also a bonus for everybody.
Yes. Well, we shall see. But it's going to be very
nil
cold.
By mouth till Sunday, by the way.
Maybe we should weigh ourselves. So there we are. That's what we've been up to recently. Now, what we also want to talk about is growing up a bit, and just so that you can listeners, you can get an idea of who we are, where we've come from as well, which I think, because it's so important, and we really, really do want you to come with us on this journey of doing this podcast, so you feel like you know us, and you're part of our story. So, Darran, when were you born? Were you born in 68?
68, yeah.
68. So I was born in 66. So yeah.
Great childhood. One brother and sister. South Manchester. Very suburban part of Manchester, but nice. Good schools. Played sport my whole life. Enjoyed all that stuff. Then got into, and this episode is sort of the link here is fashion, which we're talking about both from our past, aren't we, in terms of what led us, our fashion choices. Some of them weren't great, but some of them hilarious. And our careers, because we both ended up working in fashion as well, didn't we, to a degree. So, yeah, that's kind of my childhood, South Manchester, Sale, idyllic.
So I know we're going to have a guest on, probably in the new year now, Lukuna, the DJ and amazing Instagram account. Check him out. But he's very disparaging about cul-de-sacs and the music and the fashion that goes with cul-de-sacs.
Okay.
So are you a cul-de-sac boy?
No, I'm a crescent.
You're a crescent. Oh, yes, you're fancy.
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah, you see,
I'm
a cul-de-sac, but in a kind of a Victorian cul-de-sac, which is kind of not quite the same as a close.
Okay,
if you know what I mean.
Why does Luke not like a cul-de-sac?
I don't know. We'll have to ask him when he comes on.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
from
he
Manchester,
sees
right?
it as, yeah, he is, yeah. I think he sees it as a very middle class thing.
Okay.
But anyway, we're talking about him without him being here. So, Luke, when you come on, we'll talk again about this.
Okay, so where were you brought up, and tell us about your childhood?
So I was brought up in Macclesfield in the northwest, not too far away from Sale, I don't think. I had again really fantastic, safe, secure upbringing. I was very, very lucky. Just me and my younger brother, and we never really had an awful lot of money, but we were always happy, and that was nice.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I think our domain was Littleworth's catalogue, what my mum could afford to get us.
I was Grattan's.
Or Grattan's. What my mum could afford to get us from there, 1p a week for the rest of your life. And, my mum got us loads of stuff, but my dad never knew, which was great of her.
Yeah.
And then your friendship group, that was your circle of, of desire, wasn't it? And the couple of TV channels we had. I think MTV came in the 80s, but that was a little bit later. So we weren't exposed to a great deal of things, were we? So, which I think generally made us a little bit more content.
When you got into your teens, and I think you mentioned MTV, but there's also like Top of the Pops. And I think when you're in your teens, you become more aware of fashion, of music, of bands, of things that you like, and you start to identify. I'm going to ask you I'll ask you now, but you don't need to answer right now. But were you a mod or a rocker or a new romantic, a punk?
I think the 80s was such a variety of things going on. So I was just at the end of too young to be punk, really, because I was still at primary school when that was happening, late 70s. Although I was in a punk band called the Fists.
Of course,
we had one gig. We had one gig at primary school, but the tennis rackets we had for instruments couldn't play any songs, so that didn't last very long.
I did nearly set up a band with my friend Martin, who you'll hear about in a minute when we talk about something else. But and we were going to be in this band because he could play the recorder.
Essential in any rock band.
And I had spoons.
Of course you did.
So, didn't get very far.
I think Luke's right about you. You definitely lived on a cul-de-sac.
Cul-de-sac rock.
Too young to be a punk, really. Then the whole new wave, new romantic thing happened.
Blondie, new wave, wasn't it? All that.
Yeah.
New romantic was a bit later, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was new wave, then into new romantic, which was sort of early Spandau type stuff. So lots of big hair was starting to get bigger at this point. Sort of double-breasted jackets and scarves were going on.
Yeah.
And then from there, I went into definitely to be sort of a Wham boy. I know we're going to post some pictures, aren't we?
We are. Actually, I think the thumbnail for this one will be our album cover from the 80s.
Yeah, so to tell you a funny story here. So I was 16 at this point, and I'd never stepped foot in a nightclub in my life or been weight training. And there was a magazine called My Guy, a pen pal section you could send your picture off to. So I did, and you're going to post a picture. But Darran, age 16, he loves weight training and nightclubbing. Never done either. And people could write to you. So, which is again,
like pen pal.
Yeah, exactly. And I didn't expect to get any response, but honestly, the postman thought I was turned into a pop star because I was getting all this mail from all these young girls who generally would send a picture of a pet, not themselves. They send a picture of the rabbit or the dog or the cat. And I've still got a lot of the letters upstairs, and it's actually a really nice time capsule of the 80s about the bands they were into, the things they were wearing, and the fact that people wrote to each other. I think was really nice.
Haven't you just found?
I have. Yes, I've got
something to do with your diary or something. Yeah, just
we'll post
just
it.
Give us the top line on that.
It's a little.
Yeah, we'll post it.
It's the cover.
This, I think, is
the cover
brilliant.
of a diary from 1984. On the inside cover has my address, in case anybody finds it, because you never know.
1984, by the way. Marillion, Scriptor,
Yes.
84. I was there, Manchester
So
Apollo.
the inside cover has MCFC, which I'm a Man City fan, and then it has the lyrics from a very good song, which I'll quickly go through for you, which is a Wham song. I ain't never gonna work, get down in the dirt, I choose to cruise. Gonna live my life sharp as a knife. I find my groove, and I just can't lose. A1 style from head to toe, cool cat flash, gonna let you know.
Wow.
Which is
It's
Wham.
like listening to Keats, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. So, and then quickly you've got things that are in and things that are out. So in the Olympics.
Hang on a minute. Things that are in and things that are out.
Yes.
And this is 1984. Darren, how old were you in 1984?
15.
15. This is, according to Darren, age 15 in 1984, This is what was in.
Yes, Roddy Frame. I think he was from the Aztec Camera. Good band.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
The Olympics. It was 1984. The Olympics in LA.
I love that the Olympics are in.
Yes. Brookside. Brookside must have just started.
Well, yeah. Yeah. And that, you see, that was about a close cul-de-sac.
Still not cool. Wendy's.
Wendy's Burgers. I think we had a Wendy's in Macclesfield.
Yeah, yeah. On the outside is McDonald's, but that's a different story because I got sacked from McDonald's. That's probably why.
I worked in McDonald's.
Yes. Joan Rivers.
Training squad.
Yeah.
White badge. Oh, yeah. 5 stars.
I had 0 badges, 0 stars.
Oh, Darren.
Joan Rivers.
Joan Rivers, yeah.
Going out, because you do a lot of going out when you're 15.
I love that is. What's in? Going out. Didn't say
American
where you went or what you did.
No,
you
it's just going out.
Left the house.
American football.
Yeah.
That just started to be popular.
Yeah.
At
Do
the
you remember
time.
that Joe Theismann?
Yeah.
I think he played for Redskins, Washington Redskins.
Yeah. And the fridge.
And,
do you remember that guy?
The fridge, yeah. But I just remember Joe Theismann. And he was a quarterback, I think, and he got trampled and he broke his leg and it snapped at the knee. I can picture it now. My brother was really into that, yeah.
Yeah, people started playing American football at school.
Yeah, they did.
In the playgrounds, remember?
Yeah.
Perms, and I did have a perm.
Yeah. I
don't know if you ever went down that route.
No, I never did, no.
Okay.
No. I did have very long, quite long, past my shoulders hair. But, we'll come back onto that. Anyway, carry on.
And the last two, sleeping.
Sleeping is in.
Because you do a lot
sleeping
of sleeping.
and going out. Do you go out to sleep?
I don't know. But you do a lot of sleeping when you're a teenager, don't you?
Love it.
And Mel Gibson. Yeah. So those were the ins. In my out list, which is actually not as interesting, but out, John Taylor.
Oh, yeah, John Taylor.
Yeah.
He was Duran, wasn't he?
Yes, correct. Yeah. Dance classes.
What? Oh, that I would love to have seen.
Coronation Street was out.
Oh, yeah, Brookside was in.
Brookside was in.
Yeah,
correct.
I see where you were going.
Jasper Carrot was out.
Really?
And Joan Rivers was in.
Oh, I like Jasper Carrot.
So there's some symmetry here, you see. Watching videos was out.
His daughter was in the office,
out.
You know, the receptionist.
Oh, yes, that's
Jasper
right.
Carrot's
Yes.
daughter.
Yes. Hello, if you're listening.
Yeah, I'm sure she is. And you, Jasper. I'm sure you are too.
Video was out because I was going out so much.
Ah, okay.
Soccer was out because I was playing American football.
I love you call it soccer.
It's all balanced,
soccer,
you see.
not football, just so you didn't get confused.
Yeah, exactly. And Roger Moore was out and Mel Gibson was in.
Okay.
So
yeah,
there you go.
Amazing.
Yes, that's my little time capsule from the 1984.
Wow. Well, while you were going through that, I was deciding which tribe I wanted to belong to. Because, like you say, there were, everything was kind of connected to music, really. And so we're too young to be punks. We kind of got in a bit around new wave, but only very, very light with Blondie and what was that album? Parallel Lines, wasn't it?
My first album.
My mate Wilkie. Yeah, my mate Wilkie lent me that, and I thought it was brilliant. And then, and the Police as well. They were kicking off around then, weren't they? And that was kind of that sort of period. But then it was like, are you a mod? Are you a rocker? Or are you a skinhead? I thought I wanted to be a mod. So again, me and my friend Martin, you remember Martin, he was lead recorder in our band. He and I got dressed up in what we thought were our mod outfits.
Absolutely.
Which consisted of a very thin black tie, a white shirt, and a black PVC leather jacket. And we went into the Grosvenor Centre, which is the little shopping centre in the middle of Macclesfield, where all the real mods hung out, wearing the fishtail parkas. Sorry, it was confusing with what you do with your missus's outfits while she's out. So they all were wearing fishtail parkas with Union Jacks on the back or Targets, and they all rode Lembrettas and stuff. And we rock up.
Yeah, remember Quadrophenia?
Yeah. But we rock up in our leather jackets and trying to be cool and hang out. And one of these guys comes up to us, "Sorry, fellas, you should realise mods don't wear leather jackets."
Or carry recorders.
We were no longer mods. Actually, do you know what? I think Martin did carry on and be a mod. I think he was quite a big mod. I think he might have even rode a Lambretta. But I was just so appalled and shocked and disappointed that I didn't look like a mod. I wasn't the best mod anybody have ever seen, ever. So I rebelled and grew my hair and became a rocker. So I traded my leather jacket, my PVC leather jacket, for a faded Wrangler denim jacket and a white Grandad shirt. And I think I wore my dad's black waistcoat as well, with faded jeans and long hair down to my sort of past my shoulders. And yeah, went to see Black Sabbath, which, my first album, your first album was Parallel Lines. Mine was Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath by Black Sabbath.
No, you're from Mac, no Joy Division sort of influence? I
actually think I was slightly too young.
Okay.
I've got into Joy Division and New Order and everything since. But I think I was a little bit too young, and they were kind of on that sort of punky new wave kind of edge. And my friend Mick was into them big time, but he turned into a Perry-head new romantic, and walking around with his head on one side because he couldn't see out of his side parting.
Yes.
Do you remember those days? Did you have a Perry?
Well, your head was so heavy in hairspray, you had to tilt your head anyway.
And did you wear Farrahs, and what were those loafers, the shoes, the kind of
kickers, I think?
No.
I went through so many phases, Andy. I went from, I was George Michael one week, then the whole Aha thing happened, and Morton Harkett, and my partner tries to deny it at this stage. She fancies him. She does, and I can understand why. He's a good-looking man. But that whole, do you remember the Take On You video, the black and white thing, which is still looks amazing today.
Was that one where it was all drawn?
Correct. Yeah.
It was all like a drawn animation, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it looks. I watched it recently. It still looks, contemporary today, which is a great testament to the band. And they were the sort of quite big hair, sort of tight t-shirts, sort of faded jeans with like high top baseball boots. That look. So I did all that as well. So I had so many. The 80s was definitely about variety. There was so many things going on. It was great. So where from school? You went to college? What happened there, and what was your pathway after?
I failed my A-levels, which was a good start. But I think that actually set me up for the rest of my life, actually. Because I think at that time, you're very young when you have to start making decisions about what it is that you want to do with the rest of your life, because what A-levels are you going to do? I mean, I basically did A-levels based on which O-levels I managed to pass, rather than, what career I wanted to do. And I think there were a lot of people like that.
Yeah, well, as you know, I did travel and tourism, which I know...
Hotel and catering.
Well, it wasn't hotel and catering, it was travel and tourism, actually. On the premise that you do a lot of travelling, which was my only criteria for choice. And tourism, yes.
Do you remember the Tourists?
Yes, they do.
Annie Lennox, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yes, very good band.
Digressing.
Yes. So I had no idea what I wanted to do either.
No, I mean...
So you did art at college.
Yeah, I was going to say, so I didn't know what I wanted to do. I think my mum wanted me to go and work in a bank because she did that for a while. And it was like, I failed maths O-level 4 times. Genuinely.
I failed it twice.
4 times. There's like, Oh man, no wonder I've never got any money. But I could draw, and so I went to art school. And I think one reason I went to art school was because a lot of my friends went to art school, and that was something I just sort of drifted along.
Yeah, but it must have been exciting to be in an environment full of creatives and different people.
It was brilliant. I'd still say that my art foundation course at Northwich, Mid Cheshire College of Art and Design, hello if you're listening, was one of the best pieces of education I've ever had. And I then went on and did a degree in three-dimensional design, and then a master's in interior design. At Manchester Poly as it was in those days. But my art foundation course was amazing. It was proper freedom to experiment and to learn and to challenge and to grow and to explore ways of being creative. And I still cherish those memories, and I still look at that as my path now. I think it had such an influence on me. I still, in my 50s, have that kind of art school mindset, I suppose.
You should tell the listeners how your father described you.
Well, that was when I was at Manchester Poly, and I came back after the first year or whatever, and I rocked up at the doorstep, and I got long sort of foppish hair, and he opens the door, and he said, "Oh, are you a poet?" It's just the way he said poet. And it was just, funny. He thought I looked like a poet. And I like that, actually. It's just the fact that he called me a poet.
Yes.
Which made
I
me
think you got it right, Andy.
Yes. Travel and tourism.
Yeah, so I did travel and tourism on the basis that I travel a lot. And then I managed to find out you could do a HND in the same subject to further extend my opportunity to travel, which I did in Durham.
Sorry, that's funny. Travel and tourism, and I went to Durham.
And so I left home. My mum and dad took me up there, and they dropped me off in these halls of accommodation, and full of trepidation, didn't know anybody. And 2 wonderful years of meeting great people from all around the country. Not much studying, have to be honest, but lots of sport, adventure, excitement, and I've still got friends today that I met on that course. It was formative, like yours was. I think moving away from home for the first time was also formative. I came back, and my mum said that I came back a different person. They're more open about the world.
Were you a poet?
And I wasn't a poet. No, I wasn't sure I was a poet. I think that was you. I think I was generally a more open person to the world. I'm more optimistic about life.
Yes.
So I really enjoyed that time, and then I travelled abroad for a while. Lived in France for a year, which was also amazing. Came back and was going to do it again, but my dad said, "Listen, you need to get a job." So I did. Got a job at temping at Umbro, and that's how my sort of sportswear career started. Working at Umbro, counting socks in a warehouse in Liverpool, which was interesting. But sort of did a graduate program.
Lucky
there.
I didn't do it. My counting's never been very good.
No, you're doing rubbish at that. So I did kind of a graduate training scheme there, and that was the start of my career, which was great. I loved it. I'm very blessed to have a really nice career in sports and fashion, working for some fantastic brands. And then I think we met in the 90s, didn't we? So
I can't actually remember. Did we meet in France?
I think we did, yes.
That was the first time
perhaps
we met.
You should tee up your side of that, and then I'll tell my side.
Okay. So I in my sort of, would we be in our 20s? We probably were.
Yeah, 20s, late 20s maybe.
Yeah. In my 20s, I had a very great, and there's still great friends, but we were very, very close, and we did everything together. But there's probably about 12 of us, I think, and we used to go on holidays. And we'd always go away at New Year, and New Year's was always fantastic. I'm not a big fan of Christmas. We'll talk about that some other time. But New Year was always this really special time, and so we'd have groups of people. We'd hire a castle in Scotland, or an old.
I hope you're listening, Luke, to this.
Yes, Luke. Yes. So we'd hire this wonderful place somewhere, and we'd always organise it. So we'd book it at the beginning of January, so that we got something to look forward to, and we could always get something really good that slept 15 or 16 or whatever. These massive big country houses, and if you had enough of it really wasn't expensive, so it was good. It was great fun. And one year we were going to France, and one of our friends had this new boyfriend, and this new boyfriend apparently had been living in France for the last couple of years, and so he spoke fluent French. Amazing, we thought. Brilliant. How disappointed we were. Crouch, over to you.
So yeah, I was invited by my girlfriend at the time to go to France with her very middle class friends who played softball, which was code for girls rounders. And I asked her the question before we went: just how middle class is this going to be? Will we be singing hymns around the fire? And she assured me we wouldn't. So off we tootled to France. It was, I think it was in between Christmas and New Year. It was, it was cold but atmospheric, and these foggy lanes. And we'd been out for the afternoon down to the coast, I think, and we were walking back to the house. And then we heard the distinct Kumbaya song.
This is rubbish.
Absolutely
rubbish.
True. It couldn't be more. It could not be more middle class. And ever since then, we've been great friends, haven't we, Crouch?
No.
So that's how we met. My expertise in French. Andy was playing the recorder.
Can you remember what I looked like or what I wore? I'm just thinking, because we're sort of time back in, we've gone up through trying to be a mod, turn into a rocker, you with your Wham Boys and all that kind of stuff. When I went to art school, by the way, I was a lot more sort of Lloyd Cole and the Commotions.
Great band.
So, sort of slightly foppish hair, check shirt, probably where my dad got the poet thing from.
Yes, I think so. Yeah, good band, Lloyd.
But what did it look like then in my sort of early 20s, post-university?
You had short hair, I think.
Did I? I did have a skinhead.
Yeah, I think you did at that point.
I used to shave not shave like skinheads, proper skins, but
yeah,
I used to have a crew cut, didn't I?
I would still say you were fairly in your poet stage, but in a different genre. 90s was fairly sort of baggy clothes, weren't it, in the 90s? Oversized gear, short hair. I do have some pictures which I'll have to dig out, and we'll
dig
put
them out. We'll
put them on social
Insta.
media. And we can show your evolution from poet to
whatever I became. I remember you were just kind of quite chiseled and rugby playing, I think, in those days.
Yes, chiseled. Those for those days, Andy. They'd be good to get that back.
Yes,
nil by mouth.
How the mighty have fallen. Okay, well, look. I mean, I'm hoping that the listeners have got a bit more of an idea of who we are. Maybe in future episodes we'll talk about what happened since then, because that's probably our 20s. We've got like 30 odd years that's happened since then. So we've known each other probably 30 years.
Yeah, we have, yes.
And we've got lots of stories that we can dig into. And
we're going to try and use fashion, aren't we, as a sort of thread through the next episode. It sort of influenced both our careers.
I think it's possibly worth revealing who our guest is on our next pod.
Well, we are delighted to confirm that we have Tim. We have Tim Cooper, who's the owner, a joint owner and MD of the fantastic premium brand Oliver Sweeney. I've known Tim for quite a long time. He is in his 50s. He lives in London. He's got a great backstory to tell in terms of how he got into the industry and into footwear. And
just for our listeners who may not have come across Oliver Sweeney, just give us a very 5-second top level. What is Oliver Sweeney and why should we care?
Yeah, Oliver Sweeney, beautiful British footwear primarily, or they've just launched apparel as well. So we are talking footwear sort of £200 to £300, which sounds expensive, but we are talking footwear which is beautifully made, which will last a lifetime if you look after it. Anything from classic brogues to walking boots through to hiking boots to trainers, versatile, stylish, and Tim is going to tell us about his journey. So it should be something to look forward to on the next episode.
Great, really looking forward to this one. Okay, so I think it's probably time for us to wrap up this episode 3 of the 50-something podcast. Hope you've enjoyed it and finding out a little bit more about us and our past, and we will be revealing more about the next 30 years. We've only talked about us to our 20s as the episodes go forward. This weekend, Darran and I are going to be taking the plunge quite literally, and we're going to be jumping into Hampstead Pond, into the icy cold depths, and we will be reporting back on that in the next episode.
Goodbye for now.
We'll see you on the next one.
The 50-something podcast.
Because things happen in your 50s.
We'd love to hear different perspectives on the subjects that we discuss, so if you're 50-something, have a point of view, we would love to hear from you. Email us at 50somethingpodcast@gmail.com.